Hello, it's so good to see you. Happy Art Day and welcome back. Today we are going to make a really cool picture I think you're gonna like. And by cool, I guess I really mean more like cold. Today we're gonna be inspired by these gorgeous, beautiful reindeer, also known as caribou. No, not the coffee shop. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna be making some sweet, sweet little baby reindeers in the forest, just like these ones we see in the photograph above. So follow along with me. I'll tell you what you need, and we'll also do some really cool shading along the way to make our picture look even more realistic. So here's what we're going to need today, folks. We're going to need a piece of paper, of course. We're going to need scissors because we're actually going to cut the paper in half. We only need half a sheet today. We are going to need a Sharpie, pencil if you want to draw in pencil first so you can erase. Otherwise, if you're brave, you can just do Sharpie right away, and crayon. So that's what we'll be using. Go get those supplies. Make sure, speaking of supplies, that you keep everything in your kit when you're not using it. After you use all your stuff, clean it up because we're going to need to bring these kits back to school, and you're going to need all the stuff inside for art class. So make sure you're keeping good care of your kitty kits, the Kit Kats, the kitty kits with the arts and the stuff. Okay, so let's get started, weirdos. First off, let's take this piece of paper, and since we only need half of it, let me see, I'm gonna move my camera so you can see me better here. Boop, but there we go. Let's cut this in half. First, lay it down the long way, not the tall way. No, lay it down the long way. We're gonna fold it in half. I like to lay it down, bring one side over, touch the edges, and press to make a crease. The nice fold. Crease is another word for fold. Now we know right where the middle is, and we can cut on that line to make sure we've got exactly half a sheet of paper. Save that other half. We'll use it at some point. If you already had a half a piece of paper in your bag from another project, you can use just a half piece you already have. All right, so let's get started. We're going to begin with a Sharpie. If you would rather draw this in pencil first, so you can erase if you make a mistake, you can start with pencil and then outline it with Sharpie. I'm going to start with Sharpie. I encourage you to be brave too. So here's what we're making, our sweet, sweet little baby reindeer. We're going to start with an oval for the head. It's not right in the very middle. It's a little lower than the center of the picture. So let's start. Let's see, the top of the head is above the halfway point. So if this is halfway between the top and the bottom of my paper, if this is halfway, I'm going to start a little higher than halfway, right about here. And the head, let's see, is about from the top of my hand to the bottom of my hand. That's about how tall the head is. So if you lay your hand right on your paper with that dot at the top, then make a mark down by your thumb, that's about how big the head should be. It's always nice to measure a little bit before we start. So starting at the top, I'm going to make a nice big oval. That is an oval, not a circle for today. Now we're going to do the little ears. Curve on this side, curve on this side, little curve inside, little curve inside. After we've added the adorable little ears, let's do those antlers. I'm going to make sort of a wavy line. It's got kind of a bend in it, one on each side, and it looks like antennas on a bug. Then I'm going to add a couple more antlers to it. They can be a little lopsided or a little crooked. That's kind of how they are in real life. They're not always perfectly symmetrical. Now let's do the face. We notice that we've got two eyes that are far apart. They're right near the edge of the picture. So those are ovals too. Oval on this side, oval on that side. And inside the eye, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see here. Bloop. Inside the eye, ooh, that's a big reindeer. I'm going to leave a little oval in the top corner empty and fill the rest in. That little white dot is a shine mark. So where the light is reflecting in the reindeer's eyes. Then we're going to make the nose. Now you have some choices here. If you want a realistic wintertime out in the forest reindeer, you can make the nose black with a little shine mark. If you want to do something more holiday themed, if you celebrate Christmas and you want to make that nose red, you can do that too. It can be a little Rudolph reindeer. It's totally your call. We're going to make a large oval near the bottom of the face here. Leave a little shine mark, little oval empty. Color it in black or color it in red. Get out a crayon and do that red later. I already started with the black. Oops, so I guess I don't have a Rudolph. I have just a woodland reindeer here. All right, let's zoom out. Let's do that body. Oh, I forgot the little nose and mouth here. Straight down from the nose, we're going to make a straight line with 3 dots on this side and 3 dots on that side for their little whiskers. Short little whiskers. All right, now for the body, we're going to make like a rectangle or square. I'm going to go down, over, and up. So I'm starting on the side, on the cheek here, sort of, and I'm going to go straight down, then over, then up. Kind of a curve here, not a sharp corner. Then the same thing for each of the front feet. Down, over, up. Nice kind of a fat foot there. Down, over, up on that side. Nice thick legs. Now those are the 2 front legs, but what about the back legs? They go down, over from the bottom. Give them little hooves here, so make that bottom of each hoof a little thicker. Did you know in the summertime, reindeer hooves kind of soften up so they have more traction in the dirt, and then in the wintertime, their hooves kind of harden so that they can walk on ice and their toes don't get cold? Pretty cool, huh? They also have fur that is so thick and traps warm air by their bodies that makes it so they don't even get cold when they swim through cold rivers in the middle of winter. So cool. All right, last thing we're going to add on our little guys is a tail. It's just going to be a little bloop right there on the side. So now we've got our awesome little reindeer. We're ready to add the birch trees. I love the birch trees. It looks like the trees that are in this photograph here. Wow, that reindeer looks like he's mad at me. Okay. So for these birch trees, we can see that the ones near the bottom edge of the picture, they are bigger. And the ones that are up higher are skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. That's because things that are close up to us look really big, and things that are far away look really small, right? They're also higher up from the bottom edge of the picture. So we say big on the bottom, small on the top. Big on the bottom, small on the top. That helps our picture look more realistic. Like the things near the bottom that are bigger are closer, and the things near the top of our paper are smaller, and they're they look farther away. So let's start with our trees right in front here. On either side of your reindeer, wherever you want, just kind of somewhere starting down at the same level as their feet, I'm going to make a slightly wavy line, like a little pile of snow, and then make my tree trunk grow big and tall straight up off the edge of the paper. Make sure you have a placemat underneath you right now. I forgot to say that. I like to use a brown paper grocery bag when I'm at home, but you can use a scrap piece of paper or newspaper or a magazine, just something so you're not getting Sharpie or crayon all over your darn table, right? Now I'm going to make another line. This trunk is nice and thick. It's a big trunk. It is thick. It's not skinny because it's right in the front, so it should be big. I'll make another one over here, maybe a little higher up, so they're not exactly the same. And this trunk's going to be pretty thick as well. But now, farther away behind the reindeer, we're going to make trees that start a little higher up on the paper and are a little skinny. So I'm going to start one maybe right here. And this one's going to be right off the edge, but a little skinnier than our first trunk. And maybe there'll be one back here, even higher up, that's going to need to be even skinnier. There we go. Add as many trees as you want, but remember, if they're towards the bottom, they should be big and thick. And the higher up you go, the farther away you go, the skinnier and skinnier they should get. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to add the beautiful markings on these birch trees. Birch trees have kind of stripes. So I'm going to make some stripes that start on the edge and go over. Let's make this bigger so we can see. Maybe a little swoosh right in the center or starting on the edge. But these are all horizontal lines. That means they're flat. These lines are all going back and forth. They are not going up and down. So I'm making some of those on the trees. If you need time to catch up to me, if I'm going too fast, remember you can pause the video and restart when you're ready. Maybe you have a birch tree in your backyard. Maybe you see one in the park you go to. I think there's a birch tree in the back of Hilltop even. All right, beautiful. So now we've got all of our drawing done with our Sharpie or pencil, and we're gonna move on to crayon. If you were using your pencil, now's the time to switch to Sharpie and go over all your pencil lines with Sharpie. So pause the video and do that now if you need to. So let's get our crayons, and we're gonna start with our little reindeer. Oh, you know what? Actually, I should have said, on the reindeer, you have some choices. Like I said, you could have a red nose, but here's some other choices. You could give your reindeer a little jingle bell collar if you want to make a Christmassy type reindeer. That would be a collar with little circles for the bells, and inside each circle is an X. That's kind of the shape of a jingle bell. So you could add a jingle bell collar if you'd like. You could also, I thought it'd be cute if you added a scarf, like he's a little cold reindeer out in the snow, although we know that their fur keeps them really warm. They don't actually get cold, but sometimes it can be fun to imagine. So if you wanted to add a scarf, you could add a curved line around the neck, maybe a little bit of a wavy line out the side. Give them a little scarf like that. If you want it to be a more realistic reindeer and not add that, you do not have to add a scarf or jingle bells. It is your art. It is your choice, dude. Okay, Miss Hunt, stop being so weird and get back to art, okay? Just kidding, you know you like it. All right, one thing about crayons is you gotta make sure you don't dump them all out all over the table and they roll away and get lost. So hold your hand out. You can dump them halfway, but don't take them all the way. Don't just dump them everywhere. So let's start with our brown. Go slow and careful. I know when I color, I like to do short little lines really close together. I like to call these my choo-choo lines because I go, I know it's silly, but it's nice to remember that you do short lines. If you do long lines, they get a little scribblier and you can't really get in between them all. It leaves empty spots. So if you do short, fast lines, really tight and close together, row by row, you get a really nice, neat picture, not a messy, sloppy preschool picture. No offense to the preschoolers. Actually, I've seen their coloring. They're actually really good. My little sister, Miss Grace, she teaches over in the preschool. So maybe some of your little brothers and sisters know her. Maybe you know her from last year or the year before. But I just visited her today down at the preschool, and oh my gosh, those preschoolers were coloring really, really good. All right, so once we've colored in the whole reindeer brown, don't forget ears, don't forget tail. Keep that brown in your hand. We're gonna do a little bit of shading. That's where we make it a little darker around the edges so it looks more 3D. So I'm pressing kind of hard with my crayon and I'm just going around the edges of the oval for the head, kind of like outlining, and around the edges of the body, make those a little darker, and around the legs. All right. Now that we're done with the brown, you can use a color for the scarf or the jingle bells. If you haven't colored the nose in red yet, you can color it in red. I always accidentally get red violet, and I mean to get red. Do you guys ever do that? That red violet is sneaky. It's trying to sneak into all the pictures. All right. There we go. Oh, and the little ears too. Do a little red in there or a little pink. Either one works. All right, now lastly, we're gonna do some really fun shading on these birch trees. We want them to look round, look actually 3D. Remember, 2D means flat, 3D means you can see it from all around. Now, even though our picture's flat, we still want it to look like these trees are 3D. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our gray crayon and we're gonna make a thick, dark outline on the sides of the tree. Both sides here. Pressing hard, so that's dark. Not just one skinny line, but see I'm going back and forth over it to make a nice thick line. One on each side. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of a light line too, but I'm gonna leave the very center of the trunk, the very middle is just gonna stay white. So I've got a layer of dark, then a little lighter gray, and then right down the middle, I kept it white. I kept it empty. And that actually kind of makes it look 3D, doesn't it? Let's do it on our other trees. Doesn't have to be perfect, you know? In fact, if it's imperfect, that's kind of good. It might give the tree a little more texture. Remember, texture means the way something feels. And that would be realistic too if these trees had some texture. That back one, I can't just do the edges, so that one's just getting completely gray. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get it extra fancy, you can add some shadows behind the trees. If we imagine that the light is coming from this way, we know that shadows would be going out back the other way. So I'm going to take my very light blue, cerulean, how about? And starting from behind the tree, I'm just going to very lightly start a shadow. I'm imagining that it goes from the tree behind the reindeer, maybe comes out on the other side, and I'm just doing this like so lightly with my crayon. You can hardly even see it. And it keeps going behind this tree until it goes right off the page. So that's the shadow for this one here. It starts, and that shadow goes behind the reindeer, behind the other tree, and off the edge. We'll do that for each tree, just so lightly. They should all kind of have the same slant, all going the same direction here. There. Beautiful. So now we've got some just very faint shadows behind those trees. Makes them look even more realistic. Ladies and gentlemen, how did it turn out? I want to see your picture now that we're all done with it. Please send me a picture, and I would love to see your wonderful artwork. Thanks for joining me today. I had so much fun, and I hope you did too. Until next time, see you later.